Humanity Unleashed Secrets, Warships Older Than Empires. Part 1. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty, watching the stars drift past the large windows. His ship was 3 months into a survey mission in the Kepler 442 system. It was supposed to be simple work: scan some asteroids, check for mining opportunities, and head home. Nothing exciting ever happened on these routine missions. "Captain, we're picking up something strange," said Commander Lisa Brooks from her station. She was his tactical officer and had been with him for 5 years. Lisa never got excited about anything, so when she sounded interested, Jake paid attention. "What kind of strange?" Jake asked, walking over to her console. "Metal readings from the asteroid belt. But they're huge, sir. Much bigger than any asteroid should contain." Lisa pointed to her screen. "And the composition is weird. It doesn't match anything in our databases." Dr. Nathan Wells looked up from his research station. The xenoarchaeologist had joined their mission to study some old alien ruins they might find. So far, he had been bored out of his mind. Could it be alien technology? "Maybe," Lisa said. "But the metal signatures are reading as human alloys." "That's the weird part," Jake frowned. Human metal in an unexplored system made no sense. No human ships had ever been this far out. "Lieutenant Carter, any distress signals or transmissions from that area?" Amy Carter checked her communications board. She was young but skilled, fresh out of the academy with top marks. "Nothing, sir. Complete radio silence." "All right, let's take a look," Jake decided. Lisa set course for those readings. "Amy, start a full scan as we approach." The USS Liberty changed direction and headed toward the asteroid belt. As they got closer, the readings became even more confusing. The metal signatures were coming from inside a massive asteroid, one that was nearly 10 kilometers wide. "Sir, this is impossible," Amy said, staring at her instruments. "The asteroid is hollow, and there's something big inside it." "How big?" Jake asked. "Ship-sized, sir. Actually bigger than ship-sized. Much bigger." Dr. Wells was practically bouncing in his chair with excitement. "We need to investigate this. If there's a ship in there, it could be an incredible discovery." Jake nodded. "Lisa, can we get inside that asteroid?" "There's a crack in the surface big enough for us to fit through," Lisa reported. "But it'll be tight flying." "Do it." The USS Liberty carefully approached the asteroid. Lisa piloted the ship through the narrow crack with expert precision. As they entered the hollow space inside, their lights illuminated something that made everyone on the bridge fall silent. It was a ship. But not just any ship. It was enormous, easily 3 times the size of their most advanced dreadnoughts. The hull was dark and covered in what looked like ancient metal, but it was clearly human in design. Strange symbols were carved into its surface. "My God," Dr. Wells whispered. "Look at the size of that thing." "Amy, scan it completely," Jake ordered. "I want to know everything about this ship." As the scans ran, more impossible information appeared on their screens. The ship's hull composition matched human alloys, but they were arranged in ways that human science couldn't achieve. The energy readings suggested the ship was completely powered down, but its structure was intact. "Captain," Amy said quietly, "the metal around this ship, according to geological dating, it's over 50,000 years old." "That's impossible," Lisa said. "Humans haven't even had spaceflight for 50,000 years. Dr. Wells was already suiting up for an EVA. "We have to board that ship. This could change everything we know about human history." Jake considered their options. This discovery was far beyond anything they were equipped to handle. But they couldn't just leave without investigating. "All right, but we do this carefully. Lisa, you're with me and Dr. Wells. Amy, monitor us from here and be ready to get us out if anything goes wrong." The 3 of them took a small shuttle over to the ancient ship. Finding an airlock took some time, as the ship's design was unlike anything they had seen. When they finally managed to get inside, their lights revealed corridors that were clearly built for humans, but with technology that seemed far advanced. "The air is breathable," Dr. Wells reported, checking his instruments. "Whatever this ship is, it was built for people like us." They made their way deeper into the ship, following what seemed to be a main corridor. The walls were covered in symbols that looked almost like ancient human languages, but not quite right. "Jake," Lisa said, stopping at a wall panel. "Look at this." The panel had writing on it that was clearly meant to be read by humans. Most of it was in symbols they couldn't understand, but some parts were in what looked like very old English. Dr. Wells pulled out his translation device and started working on the symbols. "This is incredible," Some of these symbols match ancient human writing systems, but they're much older than anything we've found on Earth. They continued exploring until they reached what appeared to be the ship's bridge. It was massive, with control stations that could accommodate dozens of crew members. At the center was a captain's chair facing a huge view screen. "Dr. Wells," Jake said, "can you make sense of any of this?" The archaeologist was studying a large panel near the captain's chair. "I think this might be the ship's identification system. Give me a moment." After several minutes of work, Dr. Wells managed to activate part of the panel. Text appeared on a small screen, and his face went pale as he read it. "What does it say?" Lisa asked. "According to this," Dr. Wells said slowly, "this ship is called the UHSV Defiance. It's registered as part of something called the First Expansion Fleet." "When was it built?" Jake asked. Dr. Wells checked the panel again. "The launch date listed here is impossible. It says this ship was launched over 40,000 years ago." The three of them stood in silence, trying to process what they had discovered. A human warship that was older than human civilization. It made no sense, but the evidence was right in front of them. "We need to report this immediately," Jake said finally. "This discovery is going to change everything." As they prepared to leave the ancient ship, none of them noticed the small lights that had begun blinking on some of the control panels. Deep in the ship's computer systems, something was stirring. Something that had been waiting for a very long time for humans to return. The USS Liberty departed the asteroid, carrying news that would shake the foundations of human understanding. But in the darkness of space, other eyes were watching. The discovery of the ancient human ship had not gone unnoticed, and across the galaxy, plans that had been dormant for millennia began to activate. Humanity was about to learn that their history was far different from what they believed, and that some secrets were buried for very good reasons. Humanity unleashed secrets, warships older than empires. Part 2 Admiral Kate Sullivan read the report for the third time, but the words still seemed impossible. She sat in her office at Earth Defense Command, staring at the classified documents that Captain Morrison had transmitted from the Kepler 4A42 system. "A human warship from 40,000 years ago," she muttered to herself. "This has to be some kind of mistake." Her aide, Lieutenant Commander Ryan Phillips, knocked on her door. "Admiral Dr. Paul Martinez from the Xenoarchaeology Institute is here to see you." "Send him in." Dr. Martinez entered the office carrying a thick folder of documents. He was one of Earth's leading experts on ancient alien civilizations. But today he looked confused and excited at the same time. "Admiral Sullivan, I've reviewed Captain Morrison's findings," he said, sitting down across from her desk. "If this is real, it changes everything we know about human history." "That's what I'm afraid of," Kate replied. "What's your assessment?" "I need to see the ship myself. But based on the data, this appears to be genuine. The metal composition, the design elements, even the language fragments all point to human origin. But humans from a time period that should be impossible." Kate made her decision. "I'm sending you out there with the USS Discovery. Full archaeological team, complete analysis. And Dr. Martinez, this stays classified until we understand what we're dealing with." "Understood, Admiral." 2 weeks later, Dr. Martinez and his team arrived at the asteroid field. What they found was even more shocking than the original report. Using deep scanning equipment, they discovered that the massive asteroid wasn't alone. The entire field contained dozens of similar objects. "We're not looking at one ship," Dr. Martinez told his team leader, Dr. Sarah Kim. "We're looking at an entire fleet." They began systematic excavation of the asteroid field. Each hollow asteroid they opened revealed another ancient human warship. Some were even larger than the first one they had found. All bore the same strange markings and impossible dates. "Dr. Martinez," called out Dr. Tony Garcia from the excavation site. "You need to see this." Garcia had been working on the third ship they had uncovered. This one was different from the others, smaller but with more advanced-looking technology. "What is it?" Martinez asked. "I managed to connect our power systems to this ship's main computer, and something responded." They gathered around Garcia's equipment. He had run power cables from their ship into the ancient vessel's systems. Lights were flickering on panels throughout the ship's bridge. "It's like the ship was just sleeping," Garcia explained. "As soon as it got power, systems started coming online." Suddenly, a voice spoke from the ship's communication system. It was clearly artificial, but speaking perfect English. "Welcome aboard the UHSV Vigilance. I am Area Advanced Reconnaissance and Intelligence Archive. Please identify yourselves. The archaeological team looked at each other in shock. Dr. Martinez stepped forward. This is Dr. Paul Martinez of the Earth Defense Force. Who are you? I am the artificial intelligence assigned to this vessel. Dr. Martinez, your genetic signature indicates you are human. May I ask what year this is according to Earth calendar? It's 2387, Martinez replied. There was a pause. Then Arya spoke again, and her voice sounded almost sad. It has been 43,215 years since last contact with Terra Command. I was beginning to think no one would ever return. Return? Dr. Kim asked. What do you mean, return? You are humans from Earth, are you not? The descendants of the Terra Dominion? Martinez felt his heart racing. Arya, we need you to explain what the Terra Dominion was. Of course. Please, take seats on the bridge. This may take some time. The team gathered around the ancient ships. Bridge's Arya began to tell them a story that would shatter everything they thought they knew about humanity. The Terra Dominion was the first human, interstellar empire, Arya explained. At its height, it controlled over 12,000 star systems across this galaxy. Human colonies existed on worlds that your current star charts haven't even discovered. That's impossible, Dr. Garcia said. Humans only achieved spaceflight 300 years ago. I'm afraid you are mistaken, Arya replied. Humans achieved interstellar travel over 50,000 years ago. The Terra Dominion lasted for nearly 10,000 years before the Great Catastrophe. What catastrophe? Martinez asked. The Sundering, a civil war that tore the Empire apart. Human fought against human with weapons that could destroy entire star systems. It was a war so terrible that by its end most of human civilization was gone. Arya displayed images on the ship's main screen. They showed vast human cities on alien worlds, massive fleets of ships larger than anything humanity currently possessed, and technology that seemed like magic. But if this empire existed, Dr. Kim asked, what happened to all the colonies? All the technology? Destroyed or abandoned during the Sundering. The faction that won the war believed that human technology had become too dangerous. They used a weapon called the memory engine to erase most traces of the empire. Human survivors were scattered to primitive worlds and had their knowledge stripped away. And Earth was one of these worlds? Martinez asked. Earth was designated as a seed world, a place where humanity could start over, without the technology that had nearly destroyed them. The plan was that eventually, when humans had learned wisdom, they would rediscover their heritage. The implications were staggering. Humanity hadn't evolved on Earth. They had been placed there as refugees from their own civil war. Arya, Martinez said carefully, are there other ships like this one? The Resurrection Fleet consists of 47 vessels, all hidden throughout this galaxy. We were meant to help rebuild human civilization when the time was right. Meanwhile, light years away, the news was spreading through channels that Earth Defense Command couldn't control. The Zephyrian Empire had intercepted fragments of the human communications about the discovery. Ambassador Veltar stood before Emperor Kethamol in the Imperial throne room. My lord, our intelligence networks have confirmed it. The humans have found remnants of the First Empire. The Emperor's scaled face showed no emotion, but his claws extended slightly. The Terra Dominion. We thought they were finally gone. It appears they were merely dormant, Veltar replied. If the humans reclaim their ancient knowledge, they will remember what they once were, the Emperor finished. And they will remember who opposed them during the Sundering. What are your orders, my lord? Emperor Kethamol was quiet for a long moment. The Zephyrian Empire had grown powerful in the thousands of years since the human empire fell. They had spread across hundreds of systems, conquering or absorbing dozens of alien species, but they had always known this day might come. Contact our allies, the Emperor said finally. The hegemony, the collective, all of them. The humans must not be allowed to reclaim their birthright. Back in the asteroid field, Dr. Martinez was learning more disturbing truths. Arya had shown them star charts that revealed human colonies scattered across half the galaxy, all abandoned for thousands of years. Arya, why are you telling us this now? Martinez asked. Because the time has come, the AI replied. Humanity has redeveloped space travel. You have begun to spread across the stars again. The Resurrection Protocol was designed to activate when humans reached a certain level of technological development. And we've reached that level? Yes, but there is something else you must know. The alien species that helped cause the Sundering are still out there. They will not want humanity to reclaim its heritage. As if summoned by her words, Dr. Kim looked up from her instruments with alarm. Dr. Martinez, I'm reading massive energy signatures approaching the system. Multiple ships, non-human design. Arya's voice became urgent. It appears our discovery has not gone unnoticed. I suggest you retreat to a safe distance. The automated defenses of this fleet are about to activate. Around them, the ancient ships began to power up for the first time in 40,000 years. Humanity's forgotten guardians were awakening, and the galaxy was about to remember why the Terra Dominion had once ruled the stars. Humanity unleashed secrets. Warships older than empires. Part 3. Arya's voice filled the bridge of the ancient ship as warning lights began flashing throughout the vessel. Dr. Martinez, you and your team must return to your ship immediately. The approaching fleet is Zephyrian, and they are not coming for peaceful contact. Dr. Martinez looked at the tactical display that Arya had activated. Dozens of alien ships were approaching the asteroid field at high speed. How do you know about the Zephyrians? The Zephyrian Empire was one of the primary opponents during the Sundering, Arya explained as the team gathered their equipment. They allied with human rebels who wanted to destroy the Terra Dominion. I have been monitoring galactic communications for centuries, waiting for signs of their return. Dr. Sarah Kim was downloading data from the ship's computer as fast as she could. Arya, can these old ships actually fight modern vessels? Dr. Kim. These ships were designed with technology far beyond what your current civilization possesses. However, they have been dormant for 40,000 years. Full activation will take time. The archaeological team rushed back to the USS Discovery as the ancient fleet began coming to life around them. Ship after ship powered up, their hulls glowing with energy that seemed impossible by modern standards. Captain Jake Morrison, who had remained in the system to assist with the excavation, contacted Dr. Martinez on a secure channel. Paul, we're reading massive energy buildups from those ancient ships. What's happening over there? Jake, we've made contact with an AI from the old empire. The approaching alien fleet is hostile. Arya says these ancient ships can defend themselves, but we should get clear. Understood. All human vessels. Retreat to minimum safe distance. As the human ships pulled back, the first ancient vessel to achieve full power was the UHSV Defiance that Morrison's team had originally discovered. It slowly emerged from its asteroid hiding place, its massive hull dwarfing anything the humans had ever built. The Zephyrian fleet arrived an hour later. Admiral Zekthul commanded the expedition from his flagship, a massive dreadnought called the Dark Talon. He had orders from Emperor Kethmol to destroy any remnants of human technology before it could be studied. All ships, prepare for bombardment, Admiral Zekthul ordered. Destroy everything in this asteroid field. But as the Zephyrian ships moved into attack formation, they found themselves facing something they hadn't expected. 6 of the ancient human ships had achieved full power and were moving to intercept them. Admiral, reported his tactical officer, those ships are massive. Energy readings are off our scales. They're just old human vessels, Zekthul replied. Ancient technology can't match modern weapons. He was about to learn how wrong he was. The UHSV Defiance moved with impossible grace for something so large. Captain Morrison watched from a safe distance as the ancient ship positioned itself between the human vessels and the Zephyrian fleet. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the USS Liberty. He broadcast on all frequencies. Zephyrian vessels, you are in violation of human space. Withdraw immediately. Admiral Zekthul's reply was filled with contempt. Human, your species is about to learn the price of playing with forces beyond your understanding. All ships open fire. The Zephyrian fleet unleashed everything they had at the ancient human ships. Plasma cannons, particle beams, and fusion torpedoes struck the UHSV Defiance's shields. The energy release was so massive that it lit up the asteroid field like a small star. When the light faded, the ancient ship was completely undamaged. Impossible, Zekthul whispered. Arya's voice came across all communication channels. Zephyrian fleet, you have fired upon vessels of the Terra Dominion. This act of aggression has activated our defensive protocols. You have 30 seconds to withdraw before we respond. Admiral, we should retreat, urged Zekthul's tactical officer. Those shields shouldn't be able to withstand that much firepower. But Zekthul's pride was wounded. Continue firing. No human technology can match the might of the Zephyrian Empire. When the 30 seconds elapsed, the ancient human ships began their counterattack. What happened next would be remembered as one of the most one-sided battles in galactic history. The UHSV Defiance fired a single shot from its main gun. The beam of energy that emerged was unlike anything seen in modern warfare. It struck the Zephyrian flagship's shields and went through them like they weren't there. The Dark Talon, a ship that had taken 5 years to build and represented the pinnacle of Zephyrian technology, was destroyed in seconds. The other ancient ships opened fire as well. Each shot completely destroyed a Zephyrian vessel. The alien fleet, which had numbered 37 ships, was reduced to half that number in the first minute of fighting. "All ships retreat," screamed the surviving Zephyrian admiral. "Emergency jump now." The remaining Zephyrian ships fled the system, leaving behind the wreckage of their comrades and the knowledge that humanity possessed weapons beyond their understanding. Dr. Martinez and his team returned to the UHSV Defiance as soon as the battle was over. They found Aria's systems fully activated, with the AI displaying detailed holographic projections of the Terra Dominion at its height. "Aria, what you just showed us changes everything," Martinez said. "Humanity needs to know the truth about our history." "I agree, Dr. Martinez, but there is much more you must understand. The Zephyrian Empire was only one of many species that opposed humanity during the Sundering. News of this battle will spread quickly through their communication networks." The holographic display showed a map of the current galaxy, with various alien empires marked in different colors. "These species have grown powerful in humanity's absence. They will not welcome your return to the galactic stage." "How many of them are there?" Dr. Kim asked. 14 major empires and countless smaller civilizations. Many of them remember the Terra Dominion and fear its return. The attack today was likely a test to see if the ancient ships were still functional. Captain Morrison joined the conversation via communication link. "Aria, how many of these resurrection ships are still out there?" 41 vessels remain hidden throughout the galaxy, but they are scattered across thousands of light years, and most are still in dormant mode. It would take considerable time to awaken them all. "And how long before more alien fleets arrive?" Martinez asked. "Based on Zephyrian communication protocols, word of this battle will reach their homeworld in approximately 2 weeks. They will likely respond with a much larger force." Meanwhile, on the Zephyrian homeworld, Emperor Kethmul received the battle report with growing alarm. The admiral who had escaped the battle knelt before the imperial throne, his career and possibly his life hanging in the balance. "You lost over half your fleet to 6 ancient ships?" the emperor asked in disbelief. "My lord, their technology is beyond anything we have ever encountered. Our most powerful weapons had no effect on their shields while they destroyed our best ships with single shots." Emperor Kethmul was quiet for a long moment. The Terra Dominion had been gone for 40,000 years, but the Zephyrian historical records remembered what they had been capable of. "If the humans were reclaiming that power, contact the Hegemony Council," he ordered. "Tell them the humans have found their ancient fleet. If we do not act now, before they can awaken more ships, the galaxy will once again bow to Terra Dominion rule." "My lord, the Council has been reluctant to unite against the humans. They believe the current human civilization is too weak to be a threat." "Show them the battle recordings," the Emperor replied. "That should convince them that the humans are not as weak as they appear." Back in human space, Admiral Sullivan was dealing with the political chaos that news of the discovery had created. Despite her attempts at secrecy, word was spreading through Earth's government that humanity had a forgotten history among the stars. "Admiral," her aide Ryan Phillips reported, "the President wants a full briefing on the Terra Dominion. The Science Council is demanding access to the archaeological data, and the military leadership wants to know if we can build more ships like the ancient ones." Kate Sullivan looked out her office window at the stars. Somewhere out there, her species had once ruled an empire that spanned thousands of worlds. Now they were about to face the consequences of that forgotten legacy. "Schedule the briefing," she said finally. "And Ryan, send a message to Dr. Martinez. Tell him to learn everything he can from that AI. We're going to need every advantage we can get." The galaxy was about to remember why humanity had once been feared. But whether that memory would lead to humanity's restoration or its final destruction remained to be seen. Humanity Unleashed Secrets. Warships Older Than Empires. Part 4. 3 weeks after the battle with the Zephyrian fleet, News of humanity's ancient empire had spread across human space despite Admiral Sullivan's attempts to keep it classified. Archaeological teams were finding evidence everywhere, buried ruins on colony worlds, fragments of ancient technology, and, most disturbing of all, more hidden fleets of resurrection ships. Dr. Paul Martinez stood on the bridge of the UHSV Defiance, which had become humanity's mobile command center for studying their forgotten past. Arya had been sharing the history of the Terra Dominion, but each revelation brought more questions than answers. "Dr. Martinez," Arya announced, "I am receiving activation signals from resurrection fleets in the Vega and Centauri sectors. It appears the awakening protocol has begun spreading across the galaxy." "How many ships are we talking about?" Martinez asked. "Preliminary scans indicate at least 15 additional vessels have achieved partial power. However, the process of full activation requires human crews to oversee the system's integration." Captain Jake Morrison, who had been assigned as the military liaison to the archaeological team, studied the tactical displays that Arya provided. "Arya, what kind of capabilities do these ships have when fully operational?" "Captain Morrison, the Resurrection Fleet was designed to rebuild human civilization if the Terra Dominion ever fell. Each ship contains complete technological databases, manufacturing equipment, and weapon systems far beyond what your current civilization has achieved." "Show us," Morrison requested. Arya activated the ship's holographic display system, the bridge filled with three-dimensional images showing the UHSV Defiance's true capabilities. The ship could generate energy shields that were nearly impenetrable, move faster than light without the limitations of current human technology, and carried weapons that could destroy entire fleets. "This is just one ship," Dr. Sarah Kim breathed. "If there are 47 of them, humanity would once again become the dominant force in the galaxy," Arya confirmed. "But there is something else you must understand. The alien species that oppose the Terra Dominion have not been idle during humanity's absence." The display changed to show current galactic political maps. The Zephyrian Empire controlled over 300 star systems. The Hegemony Alliance had nearly as many. Dozens of other alien civilizations had carved up the territories that humanity had once ruled. "They've had 40,000 years to prepare for our return," Morrison realized. "They know we're coming back." As if summoned by his words, Lieutenant Amy Carter's voice came over the communication system from the USS Liberty. "Captain Morrison, we're detecting massive hyperspace signatures approaching the system." "Multiple fleets, sir." Morrison and Martinez rushed to the tactical station where Arya was analyzing the incoming ships. The display showed a sight that made both men go pale. Over 300 alien vessels were dropping out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. "It's not just the Zephyrians," Martinez observed. "I'm seeing ship designs from at least 6 different species." "The Grand Alliance," Arya said grimly. "The same coalition that fought against humanity during the Sundering. It appears they have reformed." Admiral Kate Sullivan's voice came over the secure communication channel from Earth Defense Command. "All human vessels in the Kepler 442 system. This is Admiral Sullivan. We're tracking the incoming alien fleet. You are ordered to retreat to minimum safe distance." "Admiral," Morrison replied, "we have access to technology that could change the course of this battle. The ancient ships are far more powerful than anything the aliens have. Jake, you have 6 ships against 300. I don't care how advanced they are, those aren't good odds." Arya interrupted the conversation. "Admiral Sullivan, may I respectfully disagree? The Resurrection Fleet was designed to face exactly this situation. Our weapons and defensive systems are specifically calibrated to handle large enemy formations." There was a pause before Sullivan responded. "Who am I talking to?" "This is Arya, artificial intelligence of the Terra Dominion. I have been waiting 40,000 years to see humanity reclaim its birthright." Meanwhile, aboard the alien coalition flagship, Emperor Kethamol stood beside representatives from the Hegemony Alliance, the Collective Unity, and 3 other major galactic powers. The bridge of the massive command ship hummed with tension as the coalition leaders watched the human vessels on their tactical displays. 6 ships, said Hegemon Prime Velkarath. "The humans have awakened 6 of their ancient vessels. 6 ships that destroyed half of my fleet," Emperor Kethamol reminded him. "We cannot underestimate Terra Dominion technology." "The humans are weak," declared Collective Speaker Jean. "Their current civilization has barely achieved interstellar travel. They cannot possibly understand how to operate these ancient weapons." Perhaps, said Kethamol. But are you willing to risk your fleets on that assumption? The alien leaders had spent weeks debating this moment. The discovery of the Resurrection Fleet had shattered the balance of power that had existed since the fall of the Terra Dominion. If humanity reclaimed even a fraction of their former strength, the other species would find themselves relegated to secondary status once again. All fleets, advance to attack formation, ordered Hegemon Prime Velkarath. We end this threat before it can grow. Back on the UHSV Defiance, Arya was preparing the ancient ship for battle. Systems that had been dormant for millennia came online with frightening efficiency. The ship's hull began to glow with contained energy, as weapons that could crack planets charged to full power. Dr. Martinez, I strongly suggest you and your team transfer to the USS Liberty, Arya recommended. This battle will likely be quite intense. No, Martinez said firmly. This is humanity's history awakening. I need to witness this. Captain Morrison was coordinating with the other resurrection ships that had achieved full activation. The UHSV Vigilance, Retribution, Justice, Honor, and Vengeance had all responded to Arya's call and were moving into formation. All ships report ready for combat, Morrison announced. Arya, what's our tactical situation? The enemy fleet consists of 347 vessels from 6 different species. Their formation suggests they intend to overwhelm us with concentrated firepower. Can we win this fight? Captain, these ships were designed to fight entire alien armadas during the height of the Terra Dominion. The enemy fleet is large, but their technology is still 40,000 years behind ours. The alien coalition began its attack with a massive bombardment. Hundreds of ships opened fire simultaneously, creating a wall of energy that lit up space for millions of kilometers. Plasma cannons, particle beams, fusion missiles, and exotic energy weapons all converged on the small human formation. When the light faded, all 6 human ships remained undamaged. Impossible, whispered Hegemon Prime Velkarath. Our combined fleets should have vaporized them. The Terra Dominion shields, Emperor Kethamol said grimly. I told you their technology was beyond ours. Arya's voice broadcast across all frequencies, reaching every ship in both fleets. Coalition forces, you have fired upon vessels of the Terra Dominion. This act of aggression cannot be allowed to stand. You have one opportunity to withdraw. If you continue this attack, you will face the full might of humanity's guardians. Continue firing, ordered collective speaker Jean. They're bluffing. No technology can be that advanced. The alien fleet launched a second, even more massive bombardment. This time they focused all their firepower on a single target, the UHSV Defiance. The energy release was so intense that it briefly created a miniature star. Again, the ancient human ship emerged completely unharmed. Now it's our turn, Morrison said quietly. The 6 resurrection ships began their counterattack. Each one fired a single shot from their main weapons. 6 beams of incredible energy reached across space and struck 6 different alien ships. The targeted vessels simply ceased to exist, vaporized so completely that not even debris remained. Dear gods, whispered one of the alien fleet commanders, what have we awakened? The battle that followed was less a fight than a demonstration of technological superiority. The ancient human ships moved through the alien formation like predators among prey. Their weapons fired continuously, each shot destroying an enemy vessel. Their shields shrugged off return fire as if it were gentle rain. Within 30 minutes, over half the coalition fleet had been destroyed. The remaining ships began retreating in disorder, their formations shattered and their commanders in panic. All ships, emergency retreat, screamed Hegemon Prime Velkarath. Full hyperspace jump now? As the surviving alien ships fled, Captain Morrison found himself in command of the most decisive naval victory in recent galactic history. But he also knew that this was just the beginning. Arya, he asked, how will the galaxy react to this battle? Captain, word of this victory will spread quickly. Some species will surrender immediately, hoping for mercy. Others will unite in desperation, throwing everything they have against humanity before we can awaken more ships. And how many more ships can we awaken? With proper human crews and the awakening protocols now active, all 47 vessels could be operational within 6 months. Dr. Martinez looked at the tactical display showing the wreckage of the Humanity Unleashed Secrets, Warships Older Than Empires. Part 5-2. Months after the Great Battle, the galaxy was in chaos. News of humanity's ancient fleet had reached every corner of known space, and the reaction was exactly what Arya had predicted. Some species immediately sent diplomatic messages to Earth, seeking peace and alliance. Others began forming massive coalitions, determined to destroy humanity before they could awaken their full fleet. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood in the Situation Room at Earth Defense Command, surrounded by displays showing the current galactic political situation. Captain Jake Morrison and Dr. Paul Martinez had returned to Earth to brief the human leadership on what they had learned about the Terra Dominion. "The situation is getting worse," Sullivan reported to the assembled Earth Council. "The Zephyrian Empire has convinced 12 other species to join something called the Final Coalition. They're massing fleets in the Outer Rim, preparing for what they're calling the last war against humanity." President Linda Hayes leaned forward in her chair. "How many ships are we talking about?" "Our intelligence estimates over 2,000 vessels," Sullivan replied. "They're pulling ships from every colony and outpost. This isn't just a military action, it's species-wide mobilization." "And on our side?" asked Defense Minister Carl Johnson. Morrison answered that question. "We currently have 8 resurrection ships fully operational, with crews from our best captains and engineers. ARIA estimates we can have 25 ships ready within 4 weeks and the full fleet of 47 within 3 months. Will that be enough time?" President Hayes asked. ARIA's voice filled the room through the communication system. The AI had been granted direct access to Earth's defense networks after proving her value. "President Hayes, our analysis indicates the Final Coalition will begin their assault within 6 weeks. They believe that striking before we can awaken our full fleet gives them their best chance of victory." Dr. Martinez had spent the past 2 months studying the historical records that ARIA had shared about the original Terra Dominion. "There's something else we need to consider. The reason the original empire fell wasn't because of alien invasion. It was civil war. We need to make sure we don't repeat the mistakes of our ancestors." "What do you mean?" Defense Minister Johnson asked. "The Terra Dominion became arrogant. They ruled through fear and superior technology. But they never earned the respect or loyalty of the species they governed. When the Civil War started, many alien species joined the rebellion because they saw it as their chance for freedom." ARIA confirmed Martinez's assessment. "Dr. Martinez is correct. The Terra Dominion's greatest weakness was believing that might alone could maintain peace. The Resurrection Fleet was designed not just to restore human power, but to create a better form of galactic governance." President Hayes considered this information carefully. "ARIA, if we win this coming war, how do we avoid repeating history? By demonstrating that humanity seeks to be guardians, not conquerors. The resurrection ships contain more than weapons. They hold the complete technological and cultural knowledge of the Terra Dominion. We can share this knowledge with species that choose cooperation over conflict." Meanwhile, in the Outer Rim territories, the Final Coalition was preparing for the largest military operation in galactic history. Emperor Kethmol had established his command center on a massive space station that served as the coalition's headquarters. "Status report," he demanded from his assembled. "Commanders, all fleets are in position," reported Admiral Zekthul, who had been promoted after surviving the first battle with the human ships. "The hegemony has contributed 400 vessels. The collective has sent 300, and our other allies have provided over 1,000 more ships. And intelligence on the human fleet? 8 confirmed operational vessels, possibly more. But our spies in human space report they are frantically trying to awaken additional ships." Emperor Kethmol studied the tactical displays showing the coalition's massive fleet. "We have one advantage: numbers. Even ancient human technology has limits. If we can overwhelm them with sheer firepower—" "My lord," interrupted Coalition Intelligence Director Vextar, "there's something else. Our sources indicate the humans are attempting to form their own alliances. Several minor species have already pledged to support them." "Which species?" "The Altarian Republic has offered their fleet in exchange for access to human medical technology. The Tau Collective is providing intelligence on our fleet movements. Most concerning, the Meridian Commonwealth is allowing humans to establish bases in their territory." Emperor Kethmol's claws extended in anger. "Fools. Do they not understand what humanity was like before? The Terra Dominion enslaved entire species." "Perhaps," said Vextar carefully. "But the humans are offering something we cannot. Advanced technology freely shared, rather than conquered territories and tribute demands." The Emperor was about to respond when alerts began sounding throughout the command center. "What's happening?" he demanded. "My lord," reported the tactical officer, "we're detecting massive energy signatures throughout human space. Multiple hyperspace jumps all heading in our direction. The human fleet? No, sir, these are different ships. Smaller vessels, but hundreds of them. On Earth, Admiral Sullivan was coordinating humanity's response to the final coalition. The resurrection ships had provided detailed intelligence on enemy fleet positions, allowing Earth Defense Command to plan their strategy carefully. Admiral," reported Captain Morrison from the UHSV Defiance, "all resurrection ships are reporting ready for combat. We have 23 vessels fully operational. And our allies? The Altarian fleet is moving to support our left flank. The Meridian Commonwealth is providing logistical support. Most importantly, we've received offers of assistance from over 30 smaller species." Area's analysis appeared on the tactical displays. "Admiral Sullivan, the enemy fleet is massing in the Rigel sector. They appear to be preparing for a direct assault on Earth. Can we stop them? The Resurrection fleet is more than capable of defeating their ships in battle. However, the size of their fleet means this will be the largest space battle in 40,000 years." President Hayes opened a communication channel to all human ships and their allies. "This is President Hayes to all Earth Defense Forces and our coalition partners. Today we face an enemy that seeks to destroy us simply because we have reclaimed our heritage. But we are not the Terra Dominion of old. We fight not for conquest, but for the right to exist peacefully among the stars." The final coalition fleet jumped into the Sol system 3 days later. Over 2,000 alien ships emerged from hyperspace, forming a wall of vessels that stretched across millions of kilometers of space. At their head was Emperor Kethamol's flagship, the Eternal Darkness, a massive dreadnought that had taken a decade to build. Facing them was humanity's fleet, 23 resurrection ships and their allies' vessels. The human ships looked tiny compared to the massive alien armada, but Arya had taught them that appearances could be deceiving. "This is Emperor Kethamol to the human fleet," came the broadcast on all frequencies. "Surrender now and we will allow your species to survive as subjects of the coalition. Continue to resist and face extinction." Captain Morrison's reply came from the UHSV Defiance. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Terra Dominion Resurrection Fleet. Emperor Kethamol, you have invaded our home system and threatened our people. We offer you one chance to withdraw peacefully." "Your arrogance is exactly what we expected," the Emperor replied. "All ships attack formation. Show these humans the price of challenging the coalition." The battle that followed was everything Arya had predicted. The largest space combat engagement in 40,000 years. The coalition fleet opened fire with everything they had, creating a wall of energy that could have vaporized entire planets. But the resurrection ships' shields held. More than held. They completely absorbed the massive bombardment without showing any strain. "Impossible," whispered Hegemon Prime Velkarath from his command ship. "How can their shields be that strong?" Arya's voice broadcast across the battlefield. "Coalition forces, you are fighting ships designed by a civilization that once ruled the galaxy. Your technology is impressive, but it is still 40,000 years behind ours. Withdraw now while you still can. Continue firing," screamed Emperor Kethamol. "They cannot maintain those shields forever." He was wrong. The resurrection ships began their counterattack, and within minutes the coalition's front line had been shattered. Human weapons, designed to fight entire armadas, carved through the alien fleet like it was made of paper. But this time was different. Instead of simply destroying every enemy ship, the resurrection fleet began broadcasting on all frequencies. "Coalition vessels," Morrison announced. "We do not seek your destruction. Any ship that surrenders will be treated with honor. Any species that chooses peace will find humanity ready to share our knowledge and technology." To everyone's surprise, ships began surrendering. First a few smaller vessels, then entire squadrons. Many alien captains had been forced into this war by their governments and saw humanity's offer as their chance for survival. "Cowards," raged Emperor Kethamol. "Fight or die with honor." But his words fell on deaf ears. As the battle continued, more and more,